May 7, 2025. This is the S&P 500 E-futures mini on a 2000 tick chart using NinjaTrader 8. This is what the chart looked like today. It was FOMC rate decision day, and they decided not to change the rates, which was kind of expected. Everybody didn't think they were going to do anything. It happened at 11 o'clock Pacific Standard, where you see this gigantic, crazy price action where it spiked up and then it sold off. And then Fed Chair Jerome Powell came out right around here to give his color commentary. He's the FOMC Fed president, and he just kind of said a lot of things that caused the market to kind of chop up and down. The volume was okay, but certainly right before the FOMC rate decision, it was kind of slowing down. It was choppy in some areas. It looked like it was a sell-off, a bounce, another sell-off to the sideways consolidation, like a bounce up, and then, well, you can't really consider, well, you can consider this part of the price action, which it is, but it's hard to really know what's going on here, or hard to really track, because this is where volatility spikes, because there are a ton of traders taking both sides of the position, thinking it's going to either spike up or spike down. So it just makes it very choppy right here and dangerous, because you can get a lot of slippage and a lot of, you can either make a lot of money or lose a lot of money very quickly, and your stops and limit orders could get hit very quickly. And so I took a total of 2 trades today. One was right here, and the other one's right here. I won the first one, and then the second one I lost, unfortunately. So I'm kind of having a little bit of a rougher week. There was a few other setups, and then there was some almost trades. So I'm going to get into the setups right now. The only other information that came out was, I think Trump came out, said something like he's not going to relent or going to back off the China tariffs, which did cause the market to react in some ways, but I don't exactly remember when he said all that. It was just kind of throughout the day. So in the pre-market, this happened yesterday in the afternoon. I'm not really sure why this skyrocketed so high, but it did. I mean, there's probably some news that you could attribute it to, but nevertheless, I'm not trading during this time anyways. So it's moving down on this yellow down channel, which fits pretty nicely because I found 1, 2, 3 confirmations, and then the bottom side fit pretty well. On the open, you have a new low. It's a first entry short, pull back, second entry short. I thought this was a possible trade because this is actually a hidden second entry short. If you have a new low here, it creates your first entry short very clean, pulls up, and then here creates your second entry short because it spiked above the previous and then flushed down. So all on the same candle is your signal bar, trigger bar, and second entry short, kind of hidden though. Good signal bar. I thought there was enough room to get to the low, so I thought this was a possible trade. It kind of bounces off the bottom, which I thought was developing into a range, pushes up, creates a failed breakout, comes right back in. I was expecting a push to the other side to kind of create a corresponding breakout on this side as well, on the low side as well as the high side. And I was thinking we're still within this yellow down channel, so this failed breakout feels a little bit more legitimate. Comes back down, it doesn't touch the bottom, and it starts moving back up. You have a new high here. It's a first entry long, pullback. It creates a second entry long, second entry long. This is your signal bar in real time. It doesn't look very good, so I'm not thinking of going long, but I did see this as a new low. It's a first entry short, pullback, second entry short. So I'm not thinking of going long yet because it's a bad signal bar, and I'm not really thinking it's a failed second entry short. But when it finally creates the trigger bar right here, where it pushes through the top of the range, I thought, okay, there's a possible trade. It's 2 key entry points. I had this, well, I didn't really have this firmed up, but there's a trend line going up and a potential channel here. So you could probably take this as a trade. I felt for myself it was a little bit aggressive because it is pushing into and through the highs of this range that I've drawn. Now, when it recovers and pulls back this much, I'm not really thinking this orange down channel is going to break and test the low again to create a corresponding overshoot. So it's like a possible trade. I just didn't have I didn't quite feel it was safe enough. So I actually was waiting for a higher low, like another 2 candles, comes down, touches the EMA ideally, and pushes up. But this is actually probably a decent enough setup. Prices then continue moving up, so it would have worked. But I think if I were trying to trade this to be honest, I think after seeing this, I would try to reduce my risk and put it 1 tick above this guy. But as you can see, it would never have filled. Prices then continue moving. It continues chopping sideways. Now it's in its trading range to break on this high side, and it pushes out. You technically have a first entry long, second entry long right here, but there's no room to the EMA. And plus, it looked like it made a measured move now, so I don't know if this measured move is going to hold, if price is going to come pushing back down. Creates a new high. It looks like it's in this range. It creates a new high, first entry long pullback, second entry long. I saw this as a potential multiple test, and I'm thinking, is there a trade here? But this isn't clean enough because it's a break of this green down channel, test to the low, but it's also within range. So I'm thinking range rules are dominating. And it had one push down, looks like one push up, pull back. It could be a second leg, but I'm thinking it might create a breakout on this side to match this side. So there was kind of a few conflicting things I couldn't reconcile, so I just left it alone. Pushes up and pushes through. It looks like it's hovering outside the range, and it looks like it's just getting a little choppy right now. Pushes down and through, moves down on this green down channel. Go ahead and there we go. But technically, there's a localized new high here. It's new high, first entry long pullback, second entry long, new high here, count resets, pushes down. It's a first entry, pullback, second entry. But this isn't a good signal bar to go long on. And if you're looking at a visual first entry, and this could be a second potential push up, this follow through isn't very convincing. You don't know that it's going to push up like that. It's also a new low, first entry short, second entry short. This isn't a very good signal bar to go short on. This is too early to really trust that this is a reliable range with a reliable high. Plus, it's only one touch, two touch. You need a triple test to be more confident that this is going to be a potential resistance. Pushes down, oscillates. There's a new high. It's a first entry long, second entry long. It's a bad signal bar to go long on. Looks like it's bottoming out. It looks like it's in a range for sure now, but I'm not really sure this failed breakout is going to have a push back in. And it does though. So it pushes back. So it's technically a localized new high. It's a first entry long pullback, second entry long. Second entry long, this is an inside signal bar, so I'm not too keen on it. But then it creates this higher low. So actually I like this setup because I saw it's a new high, localized. It broke, it's a failed breakout. There's enough room to the highs here. So it's a first entry long, second entry long, pull down, push back up, strong close. I entered one tick above, take the quick 1 point scalp. And as you can see, if I was going for 2 points, I'd be sitting in this mess right now with my stop right here below this guy. And as you can see, I'd have to wait till about right here to get out of this trade. But seeing this move sideways, I would have probably been pretty nervous. And I don't know, either just let it play out or probably try to get out break even. Because this is a long time to wait for this setup. Pushes out, comes back down. So this is my first trade and it was a winning trade. Pushes back up. So I was debating whether this is actually the trading range now. Maybe it's actually somewhere higher up here, but I left it alone. I liked it down here a little bit more because it had more touch confirmations. We had it right here. Oscillates, break of the green up channel, pushes once, up, pushes back, creates a second push up, and it also looks like a visual first entry short, second entry short. Also a technical count because the new swing low, first entry short, second entry short, second entry short, strong push through the EMA. Now, depending on how you had your range, you could say it's pushing back into range, but I'm not that keen on starting the range up here when you're kind of negating all this price action down here, unless it's a two-tier channel. But even then, you'd have to kind of extend it high enough to say that this is kind of where the midline is. So I still had it down here, but it did have a strong push below the EMA. I thought this might have been a possible trade. It does feel a little more aggressive, but it has a good signal bar, probably enough for 1 point scalp. Looked like it would have worked. And then give a lower high here, but this is not a good signal bar, so I wouldn't have wanted to take this trade. Pushes through, pushes up. This, if you consider this is the lower high, and then you took it after you closed at this one, you could, but I didn't like that this is an inside bar. So it kind of left it a little more ambiguous. Pushes up, looks like it's moving up on this yellow up channel. I look to the left, and right now it just looks very choppy. A press down, kind of a bounce consolidation, another press down, consolidation, now it's pushing back up. So it's not really giving you any clean second entries. Pushes up, you technically have a new high, it's a first entry long, pullback. You have your second entry long here, but it's below the EMA. It's a little too far from the setup. This doesn't feel quite safe. Pushes up, comes back down. At this point, I do have this as a potential trend line, and then I turned into a channel when I saw this, and I'm thinking, okay, it might be pushing through on this channel here. This is also when the FOMC rate decision comes out, so when I'm seeing this, I'm also aware of the 11 o'clock Pacific Standard Time rate decision coming out where things could get very volatile. So right up till here, I wasn't going to take any trades, so I just kind of sat on my hands. It just starts creating these crazy moves, which it feels very dangerous, creates a new low. You technically have a first entry short, pull back, second entry short. I actually thought this is a possible trade. It is a little bit only about 10 minutes after this crazy volatility, so it could be a little risky, but I like that as a break of this green down channel. It looks like it's one attempt down. This could be the start of a second attempt. It didn't touch the EMA, but I thought this was close enough that it might have been considered, okay, a good touch rejection pushing through. I was considering that maybe there is this yellow up channel, but it felt like more like two legs, one leg up, pull back, second leg, and then a press down. So I thought there might have been a possible trade here. Pushes up, and I saw this lower high right here confirmed. So it's a first entry short, second entry short, push up, comes back down. It's a lower high. This lower high, I wanted it to actually go up, hit the EMA, and reject down, but it might have been good enough for a quick scalp. But for my consideration, I just wanted to touch the EMA and come back down. I'm thinking this could be a trading range because it looks like it's just pricing out sideways. So it creates a new high, first entry long pullback, second entry long, second entry long. I think this is going to hold. I saw as 1, 2, 3 triple test, potential failure will push back down. So I actually got my order ready and I entered one tick below this guy. So this is actually, it's kind of a big bar, but I felt there's enough momentum to press down. EMA touch rejection, which I wanted these two to have. And unfortunately, as you can see, I entered on the failed second entry long, fills me, and then immediately rockets up, stops me out one tick above here. Now, in thinking this through, I thought, should I have kept my stop loss here? Because it does feel a little premature just keeping it here. So you keep it up here, but I kind of want to minimize my loss if it turned out to be a losing trade, because it felt I wasn't too sure, super confident that I was going to push down. So I got stopped out early. If I kept it above here, it would have just been a bigger loss. So it kind of goes to show my gut feel. I mean, if it wasn't 100% sure that I was moved down, that I would keep my stop here, I probably should have skipped it in the first place. And it pushes up. So I was also thinking there's a break of this green down channel, one attempt down, second attempt pushes back up. This was going to hold, but I thought back and I think in hindsight, this isn't the cleanest setup because this yellow up channel could be the first leg of this, like, so it's pushed down, one attempt up, then there's two legs down. It could be a second leg up to match this one. So I was thinking that after the fact. And if I was thinking that after the fact, then I don't think in real time had it fully vetted out that this is going to be a feasible high probability trade. So it might have just been skipped, but this one I did have a little higher confidence that it was going to move down. So it might just be one of those times where a high probability trade, not saying that it is, because I don't think I have the authority to say this is a high probability trade, but what I thought was a high probability trade didn't work out. So I got stopped out, pushes up, and I do see a second entry long here, a new high, first entry long pullback, second entry long. I thought this is actually a decent setup. Touch of the EMA, bouncing, pushing up. This trading range looks like it's been played out. So if there was a failed breakout here, it's a failed breakout pullback because the EMA is escaping the range now. So I thought this is actually a possible trade. But by then, I didn't want to take any more trades because one loss, one win, and then the second loss, one win followed by the second trade being a loss. I just decided, yeah, I don't quite have it because I had two losses in a row already on Monday and Tuesday. And then this is kind of like Wednesday, I thought I was going to turn it around. Probably should have just stepped away, taken it easy, but now I have another loss. So I wasn't feeling that enthusiastic. Prices then continue moving, pushes up, no clean second entries, pushes up, breaks out of this orange up channel. And now it's starting to reverse. I also saw this a new high, first entry long pullback, second entry long failure. Actually, this should be a second entry or failed second entry long, not second entry short. Correct that. So I thought this is actually a possible trade. The problem with this setup is it has a bullish bar, and at the time, as I left it here, but I thought, is this a possible support area? Because it looked like it had trouble once, twice, a third time. Is it going to bounce back up? Because could we be in some kind of developing range, crudely drawn here, something like this? So I wasn't too sure, but when it flushed through, then definitely by the time this resolved itself, the trade feels like it's too late for sure. But I thought even though it's a green bar, it's very bearish, so it might have been a trade there. Definitely a little more aggressive than I'd like. So I decided to just wait for a lower high. And you kind of get a lower high here, but it's already a break and another push down. I wanted a touch of the EMA to feel a little bit more confident. Creates a new low, first entry short, pullback, second entry short, potential failure. By the time it confirms a failure, if you didn't take it, with the trust that it's a potential bounce off of this double bottom, or depending on how you drew it, you could say there is a potential support. But that's kind of what I thought here, and I was wrong. I thought it might be a potential bounce, so I didn't take it. The same thing here. I thought there might be a potential bounce, but I wasn't sure if it was going to do this flush down like it did here. So certainly left it alone. Presses up, pushes to a new high. I saw this as second entry long, but I didn't really mark it as a real trade because it's a first leg pullback, second leg. I wanted to bounce off the EMA. Top sideways, breaks out of this shallow yellow down channel. Technically a new high, first entry long, pullback. You have a second entry long, which confirms here, but it's too late. Plus, this isn't a very good signal bar. Looks like it's chopping. I thought there might be in a range here, potential fail breakout, but it doesn't. It just kind of keeps moving back down. So this was a very short-lived range, but not good enough to try to take any trades off of, obviously, because it broke down and through. Kind of chops around. I did see this as a new low. It's a first entry short pullback, second entry short. This is kind of like an almost trade. I like this setup, except this. I mean, there is just, I think, 5 ticks between here and here. So it's very risky because I thought this is a potential trading range. If the range was bigger, then I thought this is a viable trade because I like that it pressed up and then flushed down. Almost touched to the EMA, but again, there's not quite enough room to the low, so you had to leave it alone. Prices then continue moving. I saw this as a break of this purple up channel, one push up, and then right here, it pulls back. Looks like it's bouncing off the EMA, then it pushes and closes on the high side. So I thought there might have been a trade here. Unfortunately, it's too late in the day. Then presses up. No real setups. There's a new high, first entry long pullback. Technically, you have a second entry long. It feels a little far from the EMA. You potentially have a measured move made, and I could be coming back, but I didn't like it was below the EMA, so I wanted a higher low above the EMA. You don't get it, so that's when I drew this channel coming down, and then just kind of goes into the close last 10 minutes. So kind of how I saw the charts today. Unfortunately, I should have just called it quits, especially two losing days in a row where I took trades and I lost. And then this was the third day. After I got this win, I think I was trying to squeeze more, and I ended up taking this trade over here. Unfortunately, that was also a loss, so I'm net red for the week. And unfortunately, at the time, I'm a little more okay with today because this one I thought was a viable trade. I mean, on Monday, it was a stupid error on my part, trying to press for 2 points when the ATR was a little low. And then yesterday was a flash crash, which made me take a losing trade, which is fine, but it was also a lot of slippage. So I lost a little bit more than I wanted to. So I think tomorrow, let's see, on the Forex Factory, tomorrow, I think it's just the job unemployment claims. Other than that, there's really no other news item coming out unless Trump decides to come out and say something. So hopefully tomorrow it's a little bit better trading. I'll be a little bit more disciplined. If I get a winning trade, I'm definitely probably going to just stop trading just to baby steps my way back to out of the red, out of the 3 days of poor trading. So hopefully that was helpful.